Hello, everyone. Welcome to the January 21st, 2022 meeting of the Upstream Marketing Committee team, however we should refer to ourselves, council, whatever you want to call it. I am Chris Short, contributor here in Kubernetes land, and I'm here to remind you that this is a CNCF meeting. The CNCF Code of Conduct applies, and basically be excellent to each other. With that, any new updates or big wins? Fun. Twitter automation's fixed. I know that. Paris said she was going to be here today too. I'm surprised not to see her here already.
She just dropped a message like she'll be there in 15 minutes.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, there's something Paris wants us to work on specifically, I think. Well, you were in that meeting too, weren't you?
Yeah. About the annual contributors blog, this
right.
tweet.
Yeah, we need. So, do you have a better context than I do? Because it's like last year we were way behind. This year we're going to get in front of it, right? Like that's basically the gist.
Yeah. So basically, last year, what we did is like Caslin, like I know Caslin was also in the loop with this thing. Like Paris, we started a series of tweets. Like Atharva was there with me. Like me and Atharva did a lot of tweets, like regarding the requirements of various SIGs. Like there is a help wanted section in the blog every year. So this time, what we did is we just tweeted that out, and we got responses also. But what happened is the tweet went very late in the year. So until that time, some requirements were like, the requirement wasn't there, and some new requirements came up. Also, this time, like we need to ask SIGs to get their requirements in a, the language should be understandable by everyone. Like last time, I remember we had to go back to SIG storage at SIG security, something to, get the things more clear to us so that we could tweet it out. So this time, some things like I remember some words about KPNG storage and all those things. That was very confusing for us also, and it was not very well mentioned by them. So this kind of things, they really need, like that is where contributors are needed. And at one place, like in release team, we see a lot of shadows applying, and they are like where we can help, and but we don't have that kind of requirement at that point of time. But this help wanted section could help us to engage this new contributors who are coming up to help.
Do we have any influence on what goes in there is the question. I guess that's a Paris question maybe, but yeah, it'd be nice if we could be like, okay, in the help wanted section, we maintain it, right? Like SIGs, please submit, something. I don't know. We'll figure it out once Paris shows up, but yeah. Okay, so yeah, we're going to try and get out in front of that this year, in particular with blog posts and tweets. And I think the idea was to like highlight certain parts of the report in the blog post, as well as do that call for help. When Paris shows up, she'll have more specifics. My Slack is bouncing, so something's happening. Dewan sent me an update. Hey, Dewan won't be able to make it to the marketing call, but I'll try to keep contributing asynchronously. Okay, cool. So yeah, anything else new coming down the pipe?
Yeah, I was just thinking about the contributor category. So should we try to add it to the README section of the K/K for folks, because otherwise it's not visible. Like it doesn't have.
Yeah, we should add it somewhere. Literally add it anywhere is fine with me.
Yes. So that thing I was just thinking, how would folks know that these things exist? We haven't sent any comms regarding it yet also. I was thinking if we could, I could write a blog on it in the KDev, but it has to be in somewhere that is useful. Like people are trying to install and they need help, so they should get that thing.
Yeah, I am totally fine with peering anywhere within our, repo. That's fine. If you want to put it on the dev website, that'd be cool too, if it's not already there.
Yeah, it's not there. We have to add it. Like it's okay. The comms never went out because we are still working on it. And I was like, let's have some content, then let's get it out.
Okay, cool. Catacoda needs to be PN to the docs dev site.
Okay.
Absolutely.
About the Catacoda thing. So basically, like 2 days back, I was trying out this Catacoda playground for Kubernetes, setting up a Kubernetes cluster. And there was something existing earlier. I found out like the one which is done now by Deva. Yeah, I haven't tried it, but I
Okay.
would like to try.
So see, what you tried as a playground or like, what exists earlier, that is for end user. Like it's for folks who use Kubernetes. But what we have done is it's for the upstream contributors. Okay. Those who start with Kubernetes, like setting up the Kubernetes source code in your system. So that tutorial is not available in Catacoda earlier. So we are trying to help with that. Like if you want to set up the website on your own, like CA, Hugo or Netlify, those preview pages and everything. So that is not already available. You have to read the docs and do it. So many folks who are starting with it don't have the resources to, either your computational resources is lacking, something is lacking, like, you have prerequisites to install also. So for them, we are just, helping with the this contributor category, so they could play it around, so that they don't feel intimidating to them in the beginning. So that's the difference. Actually, what we do here is specifically focused for upstream contributors rather than the end user. Like we don't focus on end user at all. That is already there.
I mean, yeah, our end user focus is storytelling, right? But we're for the contributors, right? Like Upstream Kubernetes marketing is specifically for contributors, right? Like we consider kates.dev our homepage, right? Like, and that is 100% contributor focused.
Got it. Thank you. Got it.
Thank you, Caslin, for doing notes. I'm horrible at it. Also good to see your camera's working. It happens. Hey, like I came in Wednesday and started getting electrocuted by my Scarlett thing for my microphone. So yeah, that was fun. Yeah, so that got replaced really quick. So yeah, technical issues abound everywhere. So not necessarily a new item, but potentially a change in priorities for me. I have applied to be the chair of the Open GitOps group / GitOps working group. That might take away from my ability to do stuff here to an extent. But we'll see. I don't know when the election will happen, but just to let y'all know, that could be a thing. And no matter what, I will try to maintain balance between the two, but at some point in time, it might be too much because GitOps is just growing by the minute, it feels like, as far as questions and use cases and so forth. So anything else new that we want to take along?
Just like the validate command, did that function well, or like we had that?
Oh, the validate thing. That's right.
Yes.
Let's just tweet something today reminding folks how to get started in Kubernetes. Something? Well, just seriously, like we could do recurring or not recurring, like kind of not canned, but we should start maybe a doc, could be in GitHub, could be Google, could be anything, of things that we can just tweet at any point in time, right? Like, hey, are you looking to get started in Kubernetes contributions? Here's the getting started guide on kubernetes.dev, right? Like highlighting the good content that we know is already out there. We should kind of have like a stock or, some kind of doc full of tweets like that we can send out at any time and just slightly modify a word here or there. And, hey, by the way, we're still here kind of deal, right? Like, I don't know if that's, that's definitely something I can help with. 280 characters, squeezing a lot of that information in is hard sometimes when it comes to Kubernetes. So a bunch of, just evergreen tweets, I guess is the right way to call it. We should have some of those that we can send out for exactly this reason. A, to let people know it's the resources that are there, and to B, test our validation.
I think Rajula is here in this call. Like he is the one involved behind the Twitch automation. So yeah, if you could just look into that and see if it's working, then you're fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, it could. I don't know what's going on with it, to be honest with you. I haven't looked deep enough. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Oh,
Also,
Kubernetes
while
Zoom
we
is
are
here.
on the
Yeah,
okay,
Go ahead.
so while we are on this Git automation, the workflow thing, is it really feasible to make send an email to the developers group whenever a new issue related to tweet is created? Because what can it help up to? Means there is an issue related to uh, getting an email every time a new issue is created for getting tweet out. So yeah,
yeah.
because
This issue I remember.
I'm currently looking at Zapier, the one YouTube folks are looking at as well.
Mhm.
So there is integration related to it, but I got into I got into means I was thinking of why is it necessary? So yeah.
It was actually reverse, like what you said. It's not like, whenever we send a tweet, it goes to the mailbox. It's actually opposite. Whenever a mail update comes in the KDEV mailing list, we want to send a tweet. So how it could automatically raise an issue itself, so that we could just check and, we could just validate or approve that, but it gets out as a tweet. So the integration was opposite, to email to GitHub issue. Like we have a template for that issue. So we just need to get this email thing into the template thing automatically. That was the original issue that is still lying open. Yes.
All right, let's make sure that's clearly written down because
Yeah.
don't want to have confusion. But yes.
Yeah, the problem is a
Link.
lot of our communication goes through Kubernetes developer mailing list, which is now dev at Kubernetes.
Awesome.
And the problem with that is we have a crew of people that watch Twitter a lot. We have a crew of people that watch the mailing list a lot. How can we get both of those streams of people to get the same content? And the most important governance content, decision content is always going to be on the mailing list. Like that's the heart of our life here, is the mailing list. So from that perspective, it's, how do we get 80%, not all of it either. How do we get 80% of what goes on in the mailing list on Twitter? Some of it we do because some of it is one-off ad hoc stuff that we give to you, like contributor summits. But things like major changes to the workflow for contributing should indeed be tweeted, because like that's the Twitter account is for contributors, So I feel like that stuff is very applicable. But right now we're doing it like, on a super manual basis. But like if it could be automated, great. But obviously if not, then maybe we need to think about this from more of a programmatic approach. And either maybe build a role and that person is like monitoring KDEV and just doing tweets, and then that's like a part of the shadow program, or something like that. But like, that's just one of the major problems that I see right now with our communication, is that there's just groups of people that watch different things. And some of those people don't get plugged into other things, right? So
some people sit in meetings and don't remember things either. It's nice to have reminders. Oh, by the way, the community meeting is not this month. I wasn't the only one there. That was a funny thing, right? Like,
well, so
like 6 or 7 others of us.
Yeah, no, totally. Right. And one of the things was because Chris Hine, one of my coworkers, had like a forked version of the calendar. And so when you fork a calendar, you re-invite the entire list as when you're forking it. So welcome to one of our issues. But yeah, no, we're definitely going to need y'all too for the reboot of the community meeting and getting the word out and doing a lot of outreach for that as well, because it's going to be like a new format. We want to drum up attention. So we'll think about like how we can do that later on. Hello, everyone.
Yeah. Hey, Paris. So if anybody wants to work on disseminating information about the next community meeting, like, I think we could start now because it's literally a month away, like once a week. Hey, new community meeting starting the 3rd Thursday of February, whatever that day is, and throw in the time in UTC and, a link to the calendar entry or something, right? Like
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's like
that's all you got to do.
it's new year, new mailing list, new community meeting.
Right. Like those are 3 tweets, right? Like, Happy New Year. Miss the boat on that. New mailing list. New community meeting, right?
Yeah.
Like,
new year, new us, and new ways of communicating. Like that could be like the tweet, right? Or something like that. But yeah, I'll let y'all experts deal with that creativeness.
So Paris, we have made a special section in the notes just for you.
Yay, for annual report stuff.
Yes.
All right. Okay. I'm going to share my screen. So for context for new folks, because I do see some of my new folks on, which is awesome. At the community meeting, we'll actually kick it back there. We used to have a community meeting a long time ago. And that was when we were growing exponentially and we were just like busting at the seams. So like it made sense for all of us to come together once a month and talk about what we were working on. But eventually it just became a burden because then we had KubeCon 3 times a year and, it was just like, wow, this is a lot of talking about us. So that's why we sort of sunset the community meeting for a while, but now we're bringing it back because we do have very large like community things to talk about. And there's like a lot of gaping holes in the project that we want to discuss. So anyway, however, though, in our governance, and remember, this is now I'm putting my steering committee hat on. In our governance, we had a line in there that said that chairs had to update at the community meeting once a quarter. Like we kind of made it a part of us and a part of them, right? So we had to really still kind of get that update from the community. Plus, from a governance perspective, we also want to check on just like the health and how these SIGs are doing and how we can help. And maybe should we get bigger help and stuff like that. So we created this thing called the annual reports. So all that context was just describing how we got here. But with the annual reports, it's a really lengthy document because surprise, we have a lot of groups. So one of the things that was really like hard last year is just figuring out how to collect all this information. And then not only that, but how do we actually get stuff out of this? Like, how do we draw out the key points? How do we do outreach on some of this stuff? So some of you did help out with like a Twitter campaign that we did where I'm going to share my screen now because understand what I'm talking about better. Oh, you know what? I bet you I need a key. Shit, excuse my language.
You're fine.
Do you have the key?
I can give it to you.
Yeah. Pass me that.
Somebody does, or I can just make you a host.
Yeah. Give me that. All right, cool.
Host, I think.
Done.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and here we go. Share. All right. So this was the community report last year. You can get it off cncf.io/reports. So the steering committee worked on this last year, and our table of contents is right here because it is legitimately long, hella long.
Mad long, yeah.
Yeah, very long, but it's got so much content, y'all. Like, so from a marketing perspective, especially like, if the contributors are the product, like this is amazing, right? Like this is like a manual. So anyway, some of the things that we tweeted was help wanted. Help wanted is actually going to be the first section of the document this year because it's the most important section. So what we did last year is we tweeted out, remember Debia did and Arthia did a lot of that. Yep. So what we need to do is, should we do that again this year? So that's why I'm kind of here, is I want to put this on your attention, because in the next, I'd say, month to 2 months, we're going to be working heavily on this, and then we're going to publish it. So I want to put this on your, kind of on your plates. But the sections, I'll kind of break them down for you, because again, we didn't do a lot with this. So maybe we should do blog posts. Maybe we should do special Meet Our Contributor sessions. Maybe we should do live streams. Maybe we should do, I don't know, right? Like, sky's the limit as far as what's here. But as far as sustainability of the project is concerned, it's extremely important to get the word out about some of this stuff, because like, this is really where a lot of groups are telling us what they need. So this is really like, that's why I want to like really call attention to this. So first things first, Accolades. This is like all of the stuff that we picked out, we as in steering committee picked out, that the groups were doing awesome with, like things that should be lauded, highlighted, whatever. Themes. These are things that we saw that was like kind of across the groups, that like, they're like, it could be a challenge. It could have been an accolade, but something that we saw that was a very common thing across the group. Maybe these could be blog posts, right? Like this is maybe these are interviews, and maybe you're giving an interview and a deep dive with like the people that ran some of these programs or projects, right? So that's themes. And then we've got growth areas. So these are the areas where we picked out where we were like, dang, like we really need to either get some help in this area, or we need a lot of focus in this area, or we are putting a lot of focus in this area. Something focus and we're growing, right? Same thing here. Could this be a blog post, an interview, whatever? Like this is more big, high level stuff. And then here's the help wanted, like the quick stuff. How do we get them what they need? Some of this stuff is very task oriented. Some of it, as you all know, even had issues. Some of it didn't. Should we push them to set issues for this? Like that's the other thing we can think about up front. Like, should we push people to give us this information in a certain way this year? So all of that stuff we can think about right now.
So that was my one question as we were discussing it earlier, knowing that you'd be here. What my question was, can we influence what goes into the report? And it sounds like we can to an extent.
To an extent, yeah. Yeah,
like,
sure.
I think
yeah.
linking to issues is way better than, or linking
one-
to an issue page is way better than just saying, hey, we need somebody to be a program manager, or hey, we need somebody to maintain our triage process, right? Like, come triage these tickets, right? And point to somewhere.
Yep, 100%. That's why I said that. I'm like, what? Because like that was, I think I was trying to get folks to do that last time. It was just not happening. So, but now that we've got some time, we can say, if you're giving us something that says help wanted, then set an issue for it.
Yes.
Like, so
that should be a mandatory thing this year, Paris, I feel like.
Yep.
Because that'll help us, like all those little issues become tweets too. Or potential blog posts for, a SIG update on somebody,
exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
That sounds like stuff that we could tweet as well. It's like the annual report is coming up. If you have a significant role in that, like you're a SIG lead or something, here are some things that we want you to do for it, or something like that. Some tweet series or something.
Yeah, Paris, is there someplace we can send folks now to be?
Yeah. Let me get you some, let me think about that and get you some of that info today, and I'll put it in the Slack channel.
Cool.
That's a really good idea, Caslin. Thank you.
Yes.
We have a steering committee meeting, and when I turn my video off, my internet's not stable. So I'm not trying to eat my breakfast quickly or anything.
You're fine.
So let me talk to some of the steering committee members who actually meet, I think, this Monday. And I think we're going to kick things off on Monday with some of the chairs as well. So maybe like mid next week, we can get out a, hey, did you know this thing is starting?
Mhm.
So yeah, thanks, Caslin.
That's awesome.
So, and then this section right here, this other types of upstream contributions. This was stuff that really didn't fall within the help wanted. So for instance, like just to call some of it out is commenting on KEPs with their use case. Like that's just something that generally all of our groups want, right? They want people to comment on KEPs with their use case. Like, is this an important thing for people? And then of course, SIG contributor experience wants full-time and part-time community managers. So calling out an entire role, right?
Yeah.
So then current initiatives, this is pretty much like a roadmap. And of course, there is a link here to like all of this stuff. So like all this stuff is linked kind of up in here. But this is sort of like a table of contents to quickly skim. I hate how this is laid out. However, I love the information that it gives me, you know? So if y'all have even like formatting,
Uh-oh. We lose her.
like, you know, how we should lay this stuff out. Oh no. Oh no.
No, you're
Did you
back.
lose
You're
me?
back. You're
Okay,
fine.
good.
So Paris, the one thing I would suggest is not making the actual SIG title a bullet. Make that a bold thing, just an individual
Yes.
line, and then have the bullets underneath it, because it like right now it just looks like a
Yes.
giant checklist.
Hold on. Yeah, no, 100%. Yes, that's why, like, but the thing, and like that, yes, I struggled with this last year because I was like, I said the same things, but I didn't want to lose the value. So like, that's why I was like, I was struggling. So thank you. Okay, yeah, both you and Caslin have given great suggestions today. I'm going to come here often.
It's almost like
right.
you started this or something.
I know. All right. And then, so yeah, all these current initiatives are just like roadmap-y stuff. And like,
And yeah, like I see SIG network with no report. Like,
the
don't
thing
even mention
is,
it.
it's actually really hard marketplace too. Meaning like a lot of our companies, yeah, like a lot of our, oh no, I'm breaking up again, aren't I?
Yeah, a little bit. It's okay.
Anyway, why is the internet like this in 2022? Anyway.
Right.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the report. And then everything else is just like the legalese. This is all the legalese with like, what did we ask people? Like, so here's all the questions that we asked them. And this is how we got to these responses kind of thing. So that's the report. And you can see we even did
Yeah, like
a little snapshot.
That looks like an infographic waiting to happen kind of deal.
Yeah, for sure. Thing is, like, it took us a month, literally 30 days just to do this report.
Wow.
And so that's why this year we made a generator for it. So Christoph, Christoph is making a generator so that the chairs will be able to fill it out. Well, everything will be in Markdown. We can probably pull things easier. So there's a lot of like stuff going on that is going to be a little bit better this year, but I definitely anticipate us taking at least 15 days on this still. So it's going to be a big thing. So yeah, I would love any like, hey, what if we did, what if we did this like fun creative thing, or what if the formatting was different here? Like, I would love all suggestions. And that's it. So let me turn my video back on since I won't say anything.
Yeah, I'll take a look deeper at the report to see what else kind of nuggets
And
come out.
like,
but as it's getting written, like we the marketing team should definitely be a part of that process, so we can be like, hey, maybe style it like this, or hey, we'll make an infographic for that, or
yeah,
that might be, once you get past the initial stages, it might be wise to pull us in.
yeah. And you know what? Thank you. You're reminding me of something else. So the something else is that Celeste was instrumental in this report last year, and we don't have a Celeste anymore.
Celeste is leaving, if you haven't heard.
No, I did. Yeah. So hold on. Tech writer for annual report. she played a very good editor role.
We should tweet that out.
Um,
Thank you, Celeste, for helping us with last year's annual report. We're currently looking for a tech writer to help us with this year's annual report.
yeah, or I would say an editor, you know.
Editor? Okay.
Mhm. Well, let me ask Tim first. Tim might want to.
Okay.
Tim might
Yeah.
want to help.
Oh yeah, good point.
But yeah, so that's it for this. So, and oh, actually one thing, because you also reminded me of something else, which is also ask your employers. I know that sounds weird, but ask your employers, hey, here's this report that we can generate for upstream things, like things being what's going on in the project, what the impact is of the stuff is that we work on, like what information do they want from us, right? Like, what does AWS want to hear, like that's coming up, right? Or what does Pinterest want to hear, you know, who, right? That's the other things that I've been working on in the background through like governing board. So
I'm trying to think.
but no, don't think it like this is like more of a long-term thought.
Mhm. Well, my concern would be it's like certain companies will be like, well, we want more people on our service. Put that in the report. You know, so yeah, we'll have to figure out a way to broach that. But
yeah,
is
just
there
like
anything that we would want to see in this report? Okay.
The last KubeCon, I went to a session of like a UX group within the Kubernetes project. They sound like they would be able to help us get some feedback from customers if that's a real thing.
maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Like killing it with the ideas, y'all.
That's what we do ideas. Reports.
Hopefully I was the last person on the agenda and I didn't just like steamroll through.
Well, we were
the-
waiting for you.
Oh no.
You were indeed the last person on the
Okay.
agenda. You were also
Okay,
the
good.
first person on the agenda, but you know.
Okay, good. Yay. Yeah. So I feel like y'all got a lot of things coming up.
Yeah.
So I would love to say one other thing, which is I would love to help us get our house in order here if you want me to, meaning like figure out like some more shadow roles. Because I think the one thing we should do is and I've started to do it with like Debia and some folks actually is like start to think about like a roadmap and what that looks like for 2022. Because if we even if it's just like the lightest of roadmaps, like I'm not talking about the last thing I want to do is like bust out OKRs and get serious, but like just the lightest of roadmaps, because we already know major things going on, and then we can communicate out. And I think like maybe within the next week or two, let's send out a comm that like y'all are hiring, right? And and like, but let's try to figure out like the roadmap piece first. So what I was going to do is I put together, like we're putting together some spreadsheets, and then we'll give them to y'all as some project approvers to look at. And you tell me, like, is this stuff we can pull off this year? Is this
She'll be back.
stuff that we can't? But I'll help us like within the next couple of weeks here, like sort of get our house in order. So I'm also doing it for some of the other sub projects as well. So
Thank you.
Yeah, that'd be great. One of our first projects, like at the end of last year, going into this year, was we wanted to create more clear shadowing roles. So
Yep.
it's in line with what we wanted to do anyway.
Mhm.
yeah, let's do it. All right. So that means I'll be here next week, and maybe next week we can do like an organizational hour or something. If you wanted to do that.
Sounds good to me.
And we can do was maybe like I'll try to have at least 50% of like the roadmap done by then, so then we can go through that as well.
Cool. Thank you, Paris.
I've marked a
Thank
bunch
you.
of the stuff that we've been talking about here, by the way, as actions in our note doc. So for
Awesome.
anyone who wants to work on this stuff during the week, you can check out this doc for your actions, post in the chat what you're working on, if you need any help, all of that stuff, and we can work asynchronously to get this stuff done over the next week.
Yay.
Because that's what I'm planning to try and do, is help out with some of this asynchronously over the week.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
like that's the biggest problem I feel like, is that we do a bunch of stuff in this meeting and then it's kind of like we come back. We don't necessarily make action items during this meeting. So yeah, we need to be better about that.
Well, you know, one of like somebody in the background right now as a role, like could take some of that stuff that you're documenting, Caslin, and set them as issues too. So like that could be
That'd be hella awesome.
like that would be
Please.
yeah. Yeah.
Anything that lets me not touch Git,
Yeah.
I would very much appreciate.
So
I mean, yeah, there's a triage team for a lot of the SIGs, so we should have one too, you know, or at least a triage and a shadow, you know, a triager and a shadower. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be good. And then it's like, are things being worked on, etc.
Right. Oh, sorry, muscle spasms. Cool. That's awesome.
I just had a question, unrelated. Since we wanted to test the validate option, could we tweet about the recent Kubernetes documentary that was released today?
Yes, we definitely should, because that is
So-
totally contributor focused.
What was
I feel
it?
Like Honey Pot worked with CNCF, Google, and Red Hat to build a documentary. You were in it,
Oh.
if you don't remember.
That's why I said, oh, I said, oh, I said, oh.
But yeah, we should definitely, like, at the very least, retweet what they tweet, right? Or, you know, get our own flavor of tweet going out the door. You know, that's
I'm drafting that. as
okay.
we
Cool.
talk.
Yeah.
Like, because when does it drop? Next week or this week? Did it drop today?
I have
Yeah,
no
it will
idea.
drop
I don't
today.
even
It's
know.
like
Yeah, I don't know.
in 15 minutes, it's going live.
I
Oh,
didn't know it was
wow.
out yet. Okay.
Yay. Very cool. Sarah looks so serious and badass. It doesn't she? Like, I love it. I love it. I thought it was so cool. All right, y'all. I think that's it for us, right? All right, so I'll see
Just
you
a
back.
thing about the tweet thing. The scheduling in the read.md file in the Kubernetes contributors repo, the scheduling thing does not work. So would it be great that we could write something like this does not work currently? We are working on it, because
I think that's documented in the tweets repo because it has never worked.
It has
It's
never.
not like it's broken. It was
It
made
has
that
never,
way.
ever worked. Yeah. Like, we've asked people to put in
That-
date and time if they need it sent out a date and time, but that's it. I know we've tried to get it to work, but it hasn't.
Yeah,
I
so-
think it's
I
easy
have it
for us,
open
like,
right
if
now
we-
and it has a note.
Oh.
Note the schedule feature is not supported for PR from forked repos. Therefore, this feature should be investigated further. And well, it says should be used with caution, but it actually doesn't work. So we should fix that part.
yeah.
yeah.
I think few times we use this hold option. Like if we wanted to schedule it sometime, they just
Mhm.
remove hold and it gets tweeted out. So
Yep.
that's how we used to work till now.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like that's like a project in and itself. If somebody wants
Yeah,
to work
because like
it.
that's a
Yeah.
GitHub action to go look
Yeah.
at PRs that are on hold.
Yeah.
When are the dates? Like, you got to pull that crap out of the original, request, and then you have to take an action in GitHub as well to merge. So that's a whole thing by itself.
It's
But
almost
just-
like you, yeah. It's almost
It's a
like you
cron
should-
job plus
Yeah.
plus, right? Like, it's a script and a cron job.
And almost, I also think though it could be a role too, meaning a script, a cron job, and then somebody's role to merge it when it's the appropriate time to merge it, kind of thing. Like so
Well-
a mechanical Turk.
Yeah, I mean, if
Yeah.
we can't get it automated, absolutely.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And that, to be honest, I have a reminder every day to check the repo for tweets to send out. So
Or, I mean, the other thing is, which I don't necessarily like, I roll my eyes already saying it, but like, should we investigate another solution again for tweets or Twitter? I honestly can't even like, I know I did a lot of research and Chris did a lot of research. I can't even tell you what it said.
We found Twitter together, and we just rolled with it because it was the closest thing we could ever, like, it was the only thing we could find. So
Yeah.
there might be more stuff now because Twitter has opened up its API and developer program a little bit.
Oh, okay.
So-
Well, so yeah, if somebody wants to take that as like a action of doing some research as to how we could get a better way for a bunch of us to tweet without passing around credentials.
Mm.
Which is the number one thing we're trying to avoid. Excuse me.
There's actually a bunch of them now. Holy smokes. I will just drop this search into the link into the chat and off we go. But there's a few solutions here now. Send tweet
Awesome.
action. I think GitHub Actions is definitely the way to go with this, but I'm open to other things as well, right? Like Twitter Together's on this page. We could totally do something else too, right? Like GitHub Action, whatever. We need to have something spun up in infra. We can, whatever we need, we can make happen.
Are we looking about like the automation thing? Like Twitter has this own developer account thing. Like can make your own account if you want to automate your own tweets. Like uses some API to send tweets and all. Like there are many accounts which like
Yeah, we currently are using Twitter Together now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
the Upstream project we're using here. Let me just link it.
Yes. And this new API version 2.0 is rolled out, and it's fantastic. I use that personally, and I can say that it's fantastic.
Okay. I have used that Postman API, and it was good.
Twitter gives you a inherent, usage part. Like you could scrape tweets, you could do a lot of things, but I don't know how to link this thing. Atharva and Rajul has been working on that, and these folks are the go-to people for this kind of thing.
Yeah, I tried my hands on like once, but I wasn't able to do it then, and I didn't even try later. So yeah, that's a failed attempt. I would like to someday maybe.
Feel free to poke around. Let me know if you need anything as far as the Twitter account goes, if you're ready to test. But please test with a dummy account first, obviously.
Yeah, we should just make one too.
Make a dummy account?
Yeah, we should make a test account.
Okay.
That's probably against the rules, isn't it? We need to, yeah.
But we can configure on our
Not
account.
exactly against the rules, but you'll have some difficulty getting API access.
Yeah, or maybe, I guess maybe somebody can use their personal account if they're so bold to test.
I got no problem handing out
Yeah.
I have a couple of empty accounts lying around with API access.
That's
already
true. I do
enabled.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
Okay.
you could tweet as my
You know,
dog. My dog has a Twitter
with
account.
projects that you planned on building and got API access for, but then never did.
Like
Twitter
I got
accounts
an
you started
account.
for projects that never took off. It's like domain names.
Yeah, I got one account to like send tweets every week, like every weekend to be. So every Saturday it would send one tweet, like saying it's the weekend. There's a similar account to that. But yeah, I was testing.
Chris, can you help us with the scheduling tweet thing? Because we need someone to set up clearly.
The action itself.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
like,
whatever.
As you were saying that you
go get
would
it.
be going to the Git, where you were planning to.
It's not like an official thing yet, but it might
Yeah.
divert time away from here.
Yeah, so maybe
becoming a
a
chair of
shadow.
a GitOps group would be like time consuming, I think. So
So,
Someone
so
should
maybe
shadow me, or Caslin, or either one of us, really.
to just
think
get
we
a
should
general idea on
fill
how
the
the
table
things works.
that we have for shadow roles. Like we could do that by next week. As
Mhm.
Barry suggested, we need shadow. We have that. Like I think Matt did an awesome job with creating a table and shadow and leads and everything. But we have the shadow column empty.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of, we've written a lot of good governance. We haven't done, I haven't done a good job of, I mean, I'm not putting it on myself to do it solely, but yeah, like as a group, we need to find shadows for ourselves.
I think folks in the meeting who want to shadow could reach out to people. Like that's in the documentation. Like the documentation contains who is leading which part, and you could just reach out to them and shadow. We could also fill out the table. It will be helpful.
True. We could just say, or if you want to be a shadow, PR yourself in if you're in this meeting currently.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
more easier. Like
And if you need help with GitHub, I'm here to help you with GitHub. But remember, there's always delete the repo and then reclone.
oh shit, this thing.
I'm sending out that XKCD comic every time I do that this year. I've already done it once.
Pretty much
Alright.
the only hope there is for me.
Yay, Git.
All right, y'all.
Cool, y'all. Awesome
I-
meeting. Thank you,
Yeah,
Paris.
for
Thank you,
real.
everyone.
Thank you. Bye, friends. See you.
Later. Was there anything else? Anybody in this before I hit stop? Okay.
Let's chat asynchronously and get stuff done.
Yes.
I love async work that